My story begins with a beautiful young woman who ends up pregnant, marrying this gorgeous man, very charismatic, against everyone's advice. And from there, tumultuous life, right? And I was that child. I was the product of the relationship that Sophie, had she lived, would have endured, right? I almost died the first time at the hands of my father at 6 months old. And I remember it. I remember every moment of it. I was up above, I watched the whole thing, right? I watched myself laying there. And I watched myself choose. I chose to come back, right? And I chose many times, that young girl, to live. And what did I do with that, right? What did I do with that? I suffered. My whole adult life, I suffered. I suffered because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my truth. I was not validated in my truth, right? Because as they were speaking earlier, I call them the watchers, right? You know, everybody watched these events go on. Everybody watched them happen. And there I was. So my passion became how do I move through this life and bring to other women and validate their stories, you know? My body was dying. After all those choices, right? I chose and I chose and I chose to live. And as an adult, my body's dying. I was divided and separated. Post-traumatic stress ruled my life. 2 steps forward, 1 back. 2 steps forward, 1 back. I lived at the doctor's office. 11 prescriptions, right? I was drugged. I was broken. I'd go to work. I'd come home. I'd go to bed. And you know, the universe gave me 2 children, 2 beautiful daughters. And all I could think was, how can I keep them from enduring this sort of trauma? I had 3 sexual abusers as well as a young child, right? 3 sexual abusers, this violent father. And in the beginning, my mother tried to save me. She did. She didn't know what to do. I can remember standing at the table just tall enough to like peek my eyes above, say, "Mom, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here." And her with her hands in her head, you know, her head in her hands, like, I don't have anywhere to go. What am I supposed to do, right? I'm like, "Mom, we can go anywhere. We can do anything if we get out of here." We didn't. I stayed in that house till I was 22 years old. I raised my brothers, and I gave them everything I had, right? And as I got older, got through it, throw the prescriptions in the trash. Every time I'd sit still, I'd hear, "Write your book, write your book, write your book," right? All I had memory of my childhood was my flashbacks. That's all I knew. I had lived in this very one-dimensional life. Happy-go-lucky, you would never have known until the flashbacks started. I've never told my story before. So she says, "Write your book, Mom." And I said, I can't divide. I don't even know what my truth is. I don't know what it is. I know what everybody's told me, you know, and how do I separate that out? Nothing's ever been validated. Nobody's ever stood and said, yes, this happened to you, right? The watchers, I call them the watchers. People knew, people understood, but. So when I sat down to write my book, that was the first time that order came to my story, right? And I got angry. I got really, really angry for the first time. It was the first time, because my daughter says, Mom, write your story under a different name. Give her a different name so that you can be there for be there for her. I know you. If this were happening to another person, you would be fit to be tied, right? So I'm like, all right. I gave her the name Junebug. And I got so angry. But at the same time, I realized, wow, what a magical, cool freaking kid that was. She was so cool, right? She was so magical. She could talk to the animals. She was strong. She was courageous. She stood up to him constantly, right? She looked him in the eye and said, dude, you touch me one more time, you're going to jail. And if you go to jail, if I start talking, you're never getting out, right? And she stood up for that. So it has become my passion to give voice to those who can't, right? It has become my passion to help women move out of this place of PTSD where every action we take is a reaction to something, right? How do you build a life out of this backwards energy? So I've worked with the women in the shelters. I have spent my adult life working with women on moving out of this space of reaction. How do you get this out of your body? How do you get this? Because, the psychiatrists are telling me, hey, dude, you're fine. You're fine. You're functioning, right? There's more to life than functioning, let me tell you. Because functioning meant that I would go to work, I would go home, I would go to bed, right? Was I there for my kids? No. Sadly. I tried real hard. So, as we move into this new phase of life, it's synchronistic that, the Sophie Elliott Foundation, and I just want to tell you that you do get to choose. Pain happens, but suffering is a choice. And this can very simply and very easily get out of your body so that you can start taking action in your life and moving forward in a life that you get to choose, one choice at a time. Because here's the thing. Changing you changes everything. And I think when you come from that sort of life, everything is outside of yourself, right? You don't know who you are. And I'm here today. First time I've ever spoken about that. And I'm proud to be here. And I want every one of you to know that you do get to choose. PTSD does not have to rule your life. And thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Cherie. Hold on a second. I really want you to give her another round of applause, but hold on a second. To have the courage to speak out, not just to your friends and the people that you know or people around you, but to speak out publicly and Globally, this is live on Facebook right now. This entire program, all around the world, is exactly what the world needs. More people with this kind of courage to talk about the things that nobody wants to talk about, the things that feel shameful and that we're scared to talk about. So please, let's give her a really big round of applause. Really big. Woo! Thank you. All right. Okay, and we've got